Today I fucked up by forgetting I bought a new TV. Obligatory not today. But I just turned on my TV and it made me chuckle remembering. I got my last bedroom TV in like 2016. Since it's been pointed out my brain has confused years. That should say 2012-ish. Before smart TVs, or at least before they became accessible to me. I had a Roku stick for it, and hence utilized 2 remote controls to operate it. Last summer my son wanted a new Xbox, and since his one was still good for the cozy games I sometimes play, I said, why not keep it for my bedroom and get myself a new TV while I'm at it? So I got a Roku TV. Cheap, did what I needed it to. Much bigger than my old one, great for my eyes. 1-unit remote that looked just like my Roku stick remote. So I used it for a while, Xbox and streaming. Then, like I do, I fell out of TV and games mode for a while. Gotta rotate those special interests, ya know. Well, after a few weeks I went to turn my TV on and could not find my TV remote. There's the Roku remote. But no TV remote. Oh well. This cycled a few times, I'd sporadically want to use the TV. No remote. Etc. Several months went by and I'm staring at the Roku remote one day, wondering where the TV remote could have possibly gone. When it dawned on me. I only have one remote now. Too long did not read. I didn't watch TV for months because I forgot I only had one remote for my new TV. Lol. What are some of the things you did instead? Thank you for letting me know I'm not the only one. I have always rotated hobbies, but everyone I know always thought it was weird. Phases for me last a couple months and include reading, TV show binging, movies, video games, MTG deck building. Actual games require other people, which is more difficult, and Gunpla, my version of handmade crafts. By the way, they have an app for the Roku remotes if you ever forget again. Just make sure your TV is on the same Wi-Fi network as your phone. It's funny how we get used to certain routines. Glad you finally solved the mystery of the missing TV remote. Enjoy catching up on all those shows now that you're reunited with your Roku TV remote. You sound like you belong with us over in the ADHD sub. I just did almost the same thing a few months ago, lost the remote for the soundbar and couldn't find it anywhere, so just didn't watch the TV for over a month until I finally remembered that TVs have their own speakers. Found the other remote the day after realizing I didn't need it. Today I fucked up by not knowing Rachel Ray had a dog food line. Long story short, I was at my local Dollar General and saw a crate full of discounted canned goods. Like 0.30 cents a can. The flavor sounded awesome. I was like, hell yeah. Rachel surely knows how to dish up some good food. I always take my food to work to save money. Fast forward, it's the middle of the day and I'm eating the Rachel Ray chicken and veggies, so proud of myself for eating lunch for 30 cents. A coworker comes into my office and freaks out and asks why I'm eating dog food. I had no idea and started throwing up. Now I have to go to work every day while everyone makes fun of me for eating dog food and being stupid. Apparently I have to just keep typing for the mods, but that is the end of the story. I threw away all the other cans. Especially the beef and cheese, which unfortunately I was looking forward to. Too long did not read. I bought a bunch of canned goods for dogs and ate them thinking they were for humans. Sigh. Wait, was it good? I mean, would you have eaten another can tomorrow if no one stopped you? I don't think I've ever opened a can of Rachel Ray dog food specifically, but anytime I've fed my dogs canned food, the smell is not exactly what I would call appetizing. The real foo is in throwing away perfectly good dog food instead of donating it to a shelter loudly crying. Having looked up the picture and seeing dog food in like 4-point font on the front and no actual dogs on the packaging. Opening square bracket dot. I can see how you might make the mistake. At least the ingredient list is real food. If you'd been munching on Alpo or something like that, I'd say you had more of an foo. The dollar store though? If you start licking yourself, or chasing cars, see a doctor. I thought this was a joke post, then I looked at the tins online and there ain't even a dog pictured on them. So maybe, just maybe, they make dog food that humans can enjoy too. I mean, if it tasted good, who cares? Can't turn my nose up at a good deal in this economy. But how did it taste? People are curious. Also, were you just eating it out of the can or did you heat it? Today I fucked up by giving my real phone number to a stranger. Last week I, 52F, was on my way out of my building when I was approached by a guy asking if he could talk to me. I was on my way somewhere and really didn't have time to talk, and I told him such. He gave me the usual compliments, how he found me attractive and I was just his type. Now, I will pause here to let you know I am a plus-size female and some men think we are staged for attention. I am not. I am in fact antisocial and an introvert. I told him I have someone and he said he just wanted to talk. It was late, he seemed harmless at the time and said he was visiting his sister in my building. Not wanting to seem like a snob for brushing him off and not thinking cause I had my phone in my hand, I gave the guy my real phone number and he called it right then to make sure it worked. I usually just dismiss these attempts and keep moving or give a fake number if the guy presses. I don't like confrontation when I'm alone on a city street. Later that night he texted to ask if I made it home, which I didn't notice. He then texted me, "Good morning boo," with a smiley face. I responded, "My mistake, that, I made it home fine." Later that day my text alert goes off 3 times. He sent 3 pics at once, the third of which was a dick pic saying, "I want to spend some time with you." I was like, what the actual fuck? Who the hell does that? I text him that was not appropriate, he doesn't know me like that, and to never contact me again, and I blocked his number. My phone starts blowing up from a private number, which I reject. He proceeds to leave me 2 voice messages telling me that I need an extra dick in my life, and how he just wants to get up in there. There was more but can't remember all of it and I refused to listen to them again because they were vulgar and offensive. A day later of him being blocked and I get another VM saying, "Answer the phone you fat bitch." Today I get 3 more calls from a private number that I, again, reject. I look at my phone and it's another unhinged message from the same guy saying he just wants to spend time with me. I should give him a chance, and some other nonsense. What the fuck? I don't even remember what his name was. I just keep referring to him as tall guy when I tell my friend about the latest update. I sent the pics to my friend, at her request, not the not safe for work one. So she knows what he looks like and forwarded the VM. She tells me, he sounds cray-cray and looks like a rapist. Now I'm scared to leave my building after dark for fear of running into him. He's 6 feet 7 inches and I'm barely 5 feet 2 inches. I keep my pepper spray on my keychain but I've never thought I'd need it. My friend says I should tell management and have him banned from the building, but that won't stop him from being outside the building and would probably just set him off for all I know. Too long did not read. I accidentally gave my phone number to a potential stalker. Who won't stop calling me and sent me not safe for work pictures in less than 24 hours and my friend has me worried he might be an attacker. Report him to authorities, please. Seriously. Sign up for a Google Voice number and memorize it. The next time you give your number out, give them that one. If they turn out to be crazy, just delete the number from your account. If they turn out okay, you can give them your real number later. I must have an aura of extreme hate or ugly as sin because no one ever has come up to me and asked for my number lol. OFC coming at me while I'm alone is gonna net ya the glare of death and NND. I've figured it out, thanks guys. It's giving baby reindeer, report it to the police immediately. What's happening to you is understandably frightening, and the guy deserves to get a restraining order or some such if not worse. That being said, as long as you don't respond to any more texts or calls I would guess that he sooner rather than later will grow tired of this and move on with his life. It's good that you are preparing for the eventuality that he is a complete psychopath, but I'd say there is a very meaningful difference between harassing someone with calls and texts and to actually do something physical, and just because he is doing the first doesn't mean he will do the latter. So I'll sprinkle a touch of positivity in here and say that most likely this will be over soon and you'll be okay. Stay strong and sorry this happens. Sending empathy. I've had a weird amount of randos asking for my number lately on the street or hiking trail. I don't wear makeup and I like to think I have resting bitch face. I usually just tell them I am not available and when they press, I tell them I have an appointment to get to. Today I fucked up by not going to the after being thrown off a horse. Obligatory didn't happen today. Actually happened decades ago, told the story for years, and didn't realize the problem until it was pointed out to me long after it happened. When I was 15 or 16, I was taking horseback riding lessons. This was long before LASIK surgery, so I was wearing glasses. I was taking classes in dressage and hunter, jumping, so using an English saddle. If you're unfamiliar, it's what you'll see in the limited footage they show of equestrian sports in the Olympics. I live in an area where most people ride Western, the big saddles with a horn, like you'd see in a rodeo or on Yellowstone, so I was pretty much stuck with this teacher. A number of things led to the fall, most of which would not have happened if the instructor was interested in the lesson and not the fight she was having with her boyfriend. First, I was riding an ex-racehorse, JJ. While there's nothing wrong with that, he did have a longer stride than the other lesson horses. Most egregiously, the instructor had left the gate between the indoor arena and the walkway leading to the stalls open. And JJ's stall was directly across from this open gate. She did this so she could more easily get to the landline phone to scream at her boyfriend. Lastly, I wasn't wearing any kind of sports glasses or a strap to keep my glasses in place, and especially with the sweat, they kept sliding down my nose. So I'm practicing canter circles at the end of the arena, and periodically she would pop her head out to say, "Good job." Until during one circle, I realized far too late that JJ was not turning. JJ was headed for his stall. Two issues there. First, all the flooring outside the arena is concrete, which did not seem like an appealing surface on which to land. Secondly, there was a bar across the top of JJ's stall door. High enough it would never cause him an issue, but the girl on his back? It would have scraped me off like a burnt pancake. I didn't have much time to make a decision as I said he had a pretty long stride. So I decided if I was going to be thrown, I wanted it to be in the nice soft dirt of the arena, not the concrete. So I proceeded to use every stop signal I knew, from sitting back, pulling back on the reins, anything I could think of I did. And JJ listened. He did a sliding stop that would have made any reining horse proud. JJ stopped. However, physics were not favorable to me. And while I had been trying to stop him towards the center of the arena, full of the freshly fluffed up dirt, instead I was thrown straight out of the saddle and head first into the fence. Hard enough it broke the helmet, and left me extremely disoriented. It was likely only a few minutes, but it seemed like days, as I was trying to figure out which direction was up, and how to best orient my body to be sitting that way. One of the boarders who witnessed it said it looked like I was trying to swim in the dirt, and that seemed like a good description of what it felt like. Through sheer luck, I finally figured out where the elusive up was and managed to hoist my upper body in that general direction. Unfortunately, physics was still against me. You see, the gate was designed to swing all the way open and shut, to let the tractor through safely. The gate had been secured by being lifted slightly and about 1/4 dropped into a small groove on the fencing. While this was usually fine, that 1/4 was no match for the force of a 100-pound girl crashing into it with the momentum of a cantering thoroughbred behind her. So at about the time I managed to sit up, the gate, now swinging freely, had passed through the arena opening and was moving slowly but surely towards me. I distinctly remember watching the gate as it approached, and a very clear thought of, that gate is going to hit me in the face. And that's exactly what happened. I just sat there, having used all my mental and physical abilities to sit up, and let the gate hit me in the face. At least it wasn't moving that fast. Here's the Today I Fucked Up Part 1 told that story for years. And everyone thought it was hilarious. Until one day, a little less than 15 years later, I was telling the story to a friend who was an experienced horseback rider. She used to compete at a state level. She looked horrified. "How bad of a concussion did you have?" I don't know." "Well, what did the doctors say?" It was at this moment I realized mistakes had been made. I didn't go to a doctor. My friend looked like I just told her I was the dumbest person on earth. At the time, I couldn't really argue. So you got thrown into a fence hard enough that it broke your helmet, you didn't know what direction was up, and then a gate hit you in the face, and your parents didn't think you might need at least an X-ray? What was their idea? I really didn't want to tell her. I knew what was coming. Well, they said I'd had a hard day, and was probably tired. I honestly thought she might have a heart attack in my living room. You cannot be seriously telling me that they let you go to bed. There are second graders that know you don't let someone with a head injury go to sleep. There were no second graders around to give them medical advice. She just looked at me for another minute, then said, "Okay, that actually explains a lot." Too long did not read. Getting thrown off a horse is not fun. And if the fall is bad enough to break your helmet, go to the ER. It's a less humorous story, but it increases the odds that you'll get to tell more funny stories in the future. I'm glad you lived. As far as I know, the medical consensus, rumor is that sleeping is actually good for a brain injury so it can heal better. I agree with your friend that you should have been evaluated, 'cause that sounds like a lot. But since you put so much emphasis on your glasses at the beginning of the story, I was waiting for the part where you say, and then I went to the eye doctor and had broken glass stuck in my eyeball for years. Last year my mom was thrown from a horse on a tourist trail. Didn't hit her head, but her back was hurting. My dad stayed to camp with his friends and she drove herself home. I dragged her to the hospital when I found out the next day. Sure enough, multiple spinal fractures and a cracked rib. I had a horse jump into me and slam me into a tree. Broke my helmet also and my collarbone. I was knocked out cold. I don't remember that day or much about the year afterwards. TBIs are not kidding around. Glad you are okay. I think we were far less knowledgeable decades ago. Glad you were wearing a helmet. If you had been riding Western, you probably would not have. Off-the-track thoroughbreds are some tricky beasts and I ride Arabs. As an equestrian and emergency room nurse, I'm reading this horrified. Your trusted adult should have taken you immediately to the ER. Hell. The last time I fell I was irked that my husband made me go to the ER, and while nothing was broken I didn't know that at the time. The idea that someone with a concussion shouldn't be allowed to go to sleep is mostly a myth. And this is why I always taught my lessons kids to yank to one side if their horse went OOC. Plus weight, leg look, blah blah blah. Horses naturally slow down when they're going in a circle, and you have more ability to stay seated. With that said, I'm so sorry. Your trainer was _wildly _irresponsible not to immediately send you out for a checkup and concussion test. You're kind of lucky to be alive, because some people break their necks landing the way you did. All my best.